Peace, peace, peace. And assalamu alaikum. It's your girl, the co-wife coach. Peace, peace, peace. It is your girl, Mecca, the co-wife coach, here for another Poly Talk podcast. Episode number 222. All right, so listen, we have a question that was submitted for this Poly Talk podcast, and I want to jump right into it. It actually states, it says, how can I come up with different ways to cope with jealousy when being in a polygynous situation? As a co-wife, of course. So let's jump right into it, sis. Listen, first and foremost, there's three things I'm going to share with you that are key points. And I want you to make sure you follow through. Number one is literally the number one. You have to make sure that you are rooted and grounded with yourself. See, jealousy can't come in and kind of like play with you in the most unhealthiest ways if you grounded in you, boo, okay? So you got to make sure that you're doing your self-work. And I say self-work, and I really like to call it selfish work. Not selfish, the word, but self-ish. You know, like Blackish, the show. One of my favorite shows, by the way. But anyway, but selfish behavior, meaning self-care, right? That's always like, a lot of people say that. But self-awareness, self-evaluating, self-reflective moments, doing all of these different works within yourself gives you the opportunity to really know who you are as a person, as a woman, and then as a wife, as a mother, so on and so forth. So doing that self-work is absolutely important. Taking the time to really set aside those moments where you're able to kind of dive into you, doing that deep work. A lot of times we don't want to do it because we're kind of scared to see what we may find as far as when it comes to us. But it is absolutely important for you to do. So I'll give you one exercise that you can do when it comes to your self-worth. So some of you may see this book behind me, which was gifted by a very beautiful, beloved sister. She knows that I love notebooks. Now, why do I love notebooks? Well, of course, I use them when I have sessions, right? And I also use them for my own self-work. So having different, or it could be actually more than one. I don't want you to hoard, okay? But having a notebook specifically for you and specifically for three things. Three categories: self-care, self-evaluation, and also self-worth. So the self-care book is going to be a list of things that you're going to put in there that you want to do with yourself, you enjoy, you want to try, and it's almost like your checklist. And as you do those things, write down how it made you feel. Give like a little, somewhat of an analysis of how that particular thing, how that actually worked out for you in your self-care book. So say, for instance, if you're going for a hike, right? You like outdoors, nature makes you feel really closer to you, it makes you feel good, it kind of brightens you up, being out in the sun and the fresh air and the trees and the green and the colors and the sounds, it really kind of just lifts you up, right? So go and do that thing, of course, and you can check that off on your list, maybe for the week or for the month, however you choose to do it. And then write a summary of how that particular exercise, how that moment, how it made you feel. Now, that might be one form of self-care. Another form of self-care could be, I'm sitting in the house all day, watching one of my favorite shows, eating, and just relaxing. Now, a lot of times people say that that's doing nothing. Or, sometimes you have family members saying, oh, you're being lazy today. No, you're not. You're not being lazy. You're doing your self-work. You're refueling. You're relaxing. You're regrouping and recuperating from all of the madness that you was dealing with the days before that. So just because it looks like, quote unquote, nothing on the outside, trust and believe you're doing absolutely everything that's necessary for you to do to be able to refuel on the inside, okay? So that may be another thing. At the end of that day, how did that make you feel? Do you feel refueled? Did it work? Maybe it did, maybe it didn't. If it didn't, or if it not did, excuse me, if it did or if it did not, still write that down, because you want to be able to keep a track record of the things that work, or if you need to tweak it a little bit, be like, okay, maybe I'm going to do a day of resting and relaxing, but maybe I might crochet, or maybe I might do something else that is still, still is stimulating to my refueling, and I feel good. Okay? You want to feel good at the end. You want to feel revived at the end. Okay, so that's for the self-care book. Now the next book could be your self-evaluation book, being able to write down some of the things that you're struggling with and that you're having a problem with, not necessarily just from your recognition, but also from what other people may tell you about you. The things that you can't see, because we're not looking at mirrors all the time to see some of the different behaviors and the energies that we give off. So put all of those things inside of that book for you to kind of dive deep into where that might be coming from. Why is it that I have a problem with this? Or why is it that I'm giving off this type of energy? You want to be able to have those moments recorded so that way you can go back and revisit. And if for some reason, like say for instance, if you're going to a therapist, or if you're going to a coach, or if you're going to a consultant and you're talking about some of the issues and the problems that you may have, you now have this record of some of the issues that you've been struggling with, almost like your history, where you can share with that person so that way they have a better idea as to how they can assist and help you. Okay? And then the last book is your self-worth book. Now, self-worth is absolutely important for us to be able to really stand strong, confidently in who we are as a person. And I want you to look at all of the things that you feel as though is a part of who you are, the great things. You're like, I am worthy. Like you okay, let me just give you an example. So one of the things could in your self-worth book, because it's the valuable things that come about, that is a part of you. So in my self-worth book, maybe I might put in so many things. Maybe I might put in great communicator. Now, I'm a great communicator, but we can always work on it, right? But that might be something that some people may tell me, but I also recognize within myself. Another thing could be someone that is also a good listener. I'm a really good listener. Whatever it is that you know of yourself, you've heard from other people that have shared their experience with you, put all those things down. Because it's going to be a time where you're going to have to go back to that book and remind yourself of who you are, what girl you are, okay? The woman that you are and continuously becoming. Because sometimes we have our moments where we get low. And jealousy can also alter, those type of moments. It will have a moment where it makes us forget, or has its way of kind of like influencing us to the point where we forget the great person that we actually really are. So that book is there to remind you that you are that girl. Okay? So that's just step one. Okay? The selfish behaviors, being able to get rooted into knowing who you are as a person. It's absolutely amazing and is very, very, very valuable within you coping through having jealous moments. So, number two, okay? Number two is being able to build a safe, and I would just say like what's the word I'm looking for? I lost the word. Building a safe and really open, that's the word, open form of communication with you and your co-wife. And it may not start off all that great and grand, but having moments to be able to say, listen, I understand that, we both may not be eye to eye right now, and that's cool, and that's, it's a part of the journey, right? But I still want us to be able to have a safe space of being able to communicate with one another, because you never know when we never know when we're going to need each other. And on top of that, I don't have nothing against you. Yes, this is a trying time for me being a part of a polygynous family for whatever my reasons may be, but it is not I don't want you to think that my sadness or my anger or my just uneasiness of feelings is because of you, the person. It's more so just because this is a different dynamic that I'm actually adjusting to. And I want us to be able to have a healthy form of family and communication within that family. And though I may not necessarily be like, all Joe and all like, oh, welcome. One day maybe we'll get there. But at least I want to be real with you. I want to be upfront, but I also want to respect you as a person. And I want us to be able to have this form of communication right here, safe space, if ever we need it. If it's something that you want to share, I want you to be able to feel comfortable enough sharing it with me, where you know that I'm hearing and listening to what you're saying. I'm taking it in. I'm considering everything that you're actually putting on that table, and we can kind of work through things. And I want to be able to do the same thing vice versa and feel safe within that space. And I want you to feel safe within that space of sharing, so that way we can grow as women, as individuals, and hopefully as a family. Being able to have moments like that, building, a strong family foundation and sisterhood definitely can come from that. But you want to make sure that you are a part of forging the open, healthy, and safe forms of communication between you and your co-wife, so that way you're not just, y'all not just becoming quote unquote friends, or y'all building a sisterhood, but you're also releasing that energy that you're holding on to, that's unknown, especially when it comes to jealousy, because a lot of times there's a lot of misinterpretations in jealous moments and in emotions. So you want to make sure that you're having that table or that conversation you're having that space of communication in order for you both to be able to grow as individuals and collectively as a family unit. Now, the last thing is absolutely, it's really important. You want to be able to find a way to transform that jealousy energy into compersion energy. Compersion is like to feel joy or to be happy for other people's happiness. So like, for instance, I am happy. I'm literally like, this is not me giving an example. This is my real life feelings. I am extremely happy and joyful for our husband to have two great, amazing women as his other wives. Like, when I see my co-wife and one of my co-wives and my husband, they're going out or they're together, I'll be like, oh, y'all so cute together. Oh, I'm so happy that he found you. I'm so happy you found him. Like, being able to find ways to transform that jealous energy into being happy for that person. And I'm happy for that person because I'm also happy for myself. But see, I did the other two steps. The other two steps definitely do support this last step. So don't try to jump into this first and think that it's going to be all good. No, you got to take the steps literally in order. Because if I wasn't good with myself, and if we didn't have a good form of communication as far as my co-wives and I, then I definitely, how would I be able to be happy for them, especially if I'm not happy for me? Point blank period. So being able to have those moments of being happy for them, seeing their growth, seeing that that this person actually cares for this man. Because if anything was to happen to me today, tomorrow, people always say, yeah, he can get married again. But I know that he's married to someone that's an amazing person, that's going to take care of him, and also that's going to be an amazing mother to our children at the end of the day. And not to mention, I also know that he's a great husband for her as well. So it's just like, and those are my homies. Those are my homies. And when I say they my homies, I mean my husband is my homie. That's my dude, right? But my co-wives, those are my homies. And they're my homies on different levels. Let me say that. Because I don't want people to think, oh, that if you have multiple co-wives, that your friendship or your sisterhood is going to be on the same level. It's not. But that's another discussion for another day, okay? But I am genuinely happy for them. And I love to see their love. Because I'm genuinely happy for myself. And I love the love that I got, okay? If you have any questions that you would like to be able to submit, look inside the description of this podcast or this video, and it will be an email address that you can submit your questions to. All right. In the meantime, between time, we're going to get ready to wrap this joint up. I can't wait for the next episode. But until then, I hope you all have a beautiful, productive, positive, and reflective moment and day and week and month on purpose and with purpose. Till next time, it's your girl, Mecca the Co-Wife Coach, with another episode. We wrapping this episode up for Poly Talk Podcast. Looking forward to seeing you next time. Until then, take care, peace, and assalamu alaikum.